When you look at the tech industry, it's really easy to just see a bunch of headlines, right? A new phone here, a stock price moving there. But if you peel back the curtain, what you're really seeing is this giant, high-stakes battlefield. It's a global game where fortunes are made and lost, and the future, well, the future itself is what's up for grabs. And it really all boils down to one single question.
So who is winning? That's the big question we're going to dig into. And it's not as simple as pointing to one company or one gadget. No, this is a complex war, and it's being fought on a whole bunch of fronts all at the same time. We're talking about everything from the tiny chips that power our world to the apps on your phone that are fighting for your attention. It's all connected.
And the first, and you could argue the biggest battleground right now, is the AI gold rush. I mean, this is where the real action is. Companies aren't just playing defense anymore. They're going on the attack. They are making these huge, aggressive bets to stake their claim on what might just be the most valuable prize in the history of tech.
And just listen to the sheer confidence in this quote from AMD CEO Lisa Su. Look, this isn't just some PR fluff. This is a declaration of war, basically. They are speeding everything up, moving to a yearly product cycle, all to compete at the very top of the AI chip market. They see an opening, and man, they are sprinting right for it.
So why are they sprinting? Well, it's because of this number right here, $500 billion. That is what AMD thinks the market for AI data center chips is going to be worth in just a few years. I mean, that is just an astronomical figure, and AMD is betting big that they can grab a serious piece of that pie. That's the kind of prize that makes these high-stakes gambles worth it. But yeah, this whole AI gold rush, it's not just about the hardware. The frenzy over on the software side of things is every bit as intense. So while companies like AMD are busy building the shovels for this gold rush, you've got others who are using those shovels to dig for gold in a totally different way. Just take a look at OpenAI. We're seeing its valuation just explode. A sale of shares a few months back set one price, and now there's talk of a new deal that could push its value into a whole new stratosphere. I mean, that kind of jump in less than a year just shows you the incredible, almost unbelievable amount of money and momentum that's pouring into the top AI companies right now.
But okay, why do this? It's not just about bragging rights for having a bigger valuation. Think of this secondary share sale as a strategic weapon in what people are calling a fierce talent war. By letting employees sell some of their stock and actually get that cash, it becomes this amazing tool for keeping your best people, especially when you've got rivals like Meta trying to lure them away. In this AI race, brain power is every bit as valuable as a billion-dollar investment.
Okay, so winning this game isn't just about having the coolest tech or the deepest pockets. There's this whole other layer of crazy complexity, geopolitics. All these companies are basically walking a tightrope, trying to innovate and grow while navigating this minefield of government regulations and global tensions. And really, this is the core tension right here. On one side, you've got these companies just pushing the envelope, moving at this speed of light. And on the other side, you've got governments trying to pump the brakes, trying to balance things like national security, their own economic interests, and just plain control. And a lot of the time, those two forces are pulling in completely opposite directions. AMD is a perfect case study for this. Just 90 days ago, because of US regulations, they thought they wouldn't be able to ship their advanced chips to China. Now, things are a little less clear. The licenses are under review. But that uncertainty, it had massive consequences. China was left out of their revenue forecast, their supply chain got all messed up, and it led to an $800 million inventory write-down. That's a huge financial hit caused entirely by these regulatory hurdles. Now, on the flip side of all this geopolitical pressure, you get big moves like this. The White House makes this huge announcement that Apple is pledging an extra $100 billion for investment in the US. And on the surface, wow, that's a huge number. Sounds like a massive win for American manufacturing. But hold on. Is it what it really seems to be? As soon as that number hit the news, analysts immediately started asking questions. They started poking at it, wondering, is this a fundamental change in how Apple builds its stuff, or is it something else? And here's that more skeptical take. Analysts basically see this giant pledge as a really smart political move. It's a way to, quote, soften Trump's ire about Apple making everything overseas. It gives the administration a big number they can point to and claim a victory. But what it's probably not is some big commitment to start assembling iPhones in the US. It's more about stuff around the edges, like data centers and supplier deals. Important, for sure, but not the massive production shift you might be picturing. All right, let's get to our final battleground. And this is one we are all a part of every single day, the platform wars. This is the constant fight for our eyeballs, for our time, and for our wallets. And in this arena, a single slip-up can cost you everything. Sharp execution is the name of the game. And what we're looking at here is really a tale of two completely different stories. Over here, you have Snap, struggling with what are basically self-inflicted wounds. We're talking ad glitches, inconsistent results, some really deep structural problems. And then over here, you have Unity, hitting what its own CEO is calling an inflection point, because they just laser-focused on their main business, being the operating system for mobile gaming.
And you had analysts just not holding back. One analyst from eMarketer called Snap's quarter dismal, and more importantly, a self-inflicted wound. And that's the key part right there. The problem wasn't just a bad economy. It was fundamental issues inside their own platform. In a market this competitive, you just cannot afford to make those kinds of mistakes.
And wow, what a difference in tone from the leadership, right? While Snap was scrambling, Unity's CEO was out there projecting total confidence. He wasn't making excuses, he was declaring an inflection point and refocusing the company on being business builders. It's just such a clear example of how much leadership and focus really matter in these platform wars.
So let's pull all these threads together real quick. Let's recap the state of the game. First, we saw the absolute insanity of the AI gold rush, just massive investments and valuations that are shooting through the roof. Then, we saw how even the biggest players have to walk this delicate geopolitical tightrope, where their biggest ideas can be stopped cold by regulations. And finally, in the platform wars, we saw crystal clear how perfect execution can be the one thing that separates the winners from the losers. At the end of the day, this game is always moving. The rules are constantly changing, new players are always showing up, and yesterday's champions can easily become tomorrow's cautionary tales. Which brings us all the way back to our original question, but I'm going to put it to you to think about. In a game this complicated, with rules that change on a dime, who would you bet on? The aggressive innovator, the clever political player, or the one who just executes flawlessly? There's no easy answer.